Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Carl from Planet 40k. Today we're going to be going over the Necron side of the Codex preview that was released earlier today by Warhammer Community. So the first thing that was mentioned from the Necron side of things was how the lore has been progressed. So we see the return of the Silent King here with the new artwork as well. I'm not going to go into too much depth with the actual lore side of things. So the next thing they began speaking about was this Warhammer Dynasty. They basically confirmed the leak of the Dynasty Codes, which was firstly each time a model with this code loses a wound from a mortal wound, on a 5+ you can ignore the wound, and not only that, each time a unit with this code is selected to shoot or fight, they can reroll one wound roll for their attack. So that was confirmed. They also added in the next part, which we already saw it but we didn't know what it meant. So when the protocol of Undying legions becomes active for your army, if every unit in the army has this code, excluding Dynasty agents and Catan shards, you can select both of the command protocol directives instead of just one. What they then discussed after that was how these new protocols are going to work. It's going to be like combat doctrines with the Marines, so they're going to give you two choices per turn of a directive of what you can basically select one. So in the example they gave is the protocol of Conquering Tyrant. You can either choose Directive 1, which is add 3 inches to the range of the unit's aura abilities to a maximum of 12 inch, and increase the range of the following abilities this unit has by 3 inch to the maximum of 12 inch. So the Lord's My Will Be Done, Rites of Reanimation. Or you can choose Directive 2, which is the unit is eligible to shoot in the turn which it fell back, but if it does, until the end of that turn, each time a model in this unit makes a ranged attack, you must subtract 1 from the attack hit roll. So every turn you're going to be getting a different protocol with 2 different options, so you can be very versatile on the fly. You can change it up. The example they gave was if you've got, say, your opponent using a lot of deep striking units, you might want to be using Directive 2, which is to be able to fall back and shoot them, but maybe they don't deep strike on that turn, so instead you can go Directive 1 and add 3 inch to the range of your aura ability, so you can change it up on the fly, which is a pretty cool thing there. And each different dynasty has something related to this as well, so we'll be going through those once the Codex does get released. So they started bringing out they started showing some new models and some of the new rules that they're going to be having. So firstly they spoke about the Chronomancer, and they showed that one of his abilities was in the shooting phase you can select one enemy unit within 18 inches of Chronomancer until the start of the next turn, half advance rolls and charge rolls made for that unit. Pretty cool there. And also another rule they brought out was in the command phase you can select one friendly dynasty unit within 9 inches of this model. Until the start of the next command phase you can reroll charges made for that unit, and the models in the unit also receive a 5+ infun save. So another nice little buff there. They then went on to the Psychomancer, another new model here. I'm presuming these are all taken over what the cryptex were. We'll have to see. They brought out a rule for him, the Nightmare Shroud aura, which is while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, you subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic of the models in that unit, and also subtract 1 from the combat attrition test taken from that unit. So we've not seen any of these type of rules that interact with the combat attrition test just yet, so this is the first of its kind, and we'll have to see how well that pans out once it's in practice. They then moved on to one of the Crusade campaign purchases that you can buy from the Necron faction only. So they mentioned that all armies or factions are going to have their own specific things to purchase, and this is the one example they gave for the Necron side of things. So purchase this requisition after a battle in which your Crusade army contain 1 or more units with the Destroyer Cult's keyword. Select one Lord or Overlord model that was also part of the Crusade army. Remove that model from the order of battle and replace it with a Destroyer Cult character from the same dynasty. You cannot purchase this requisition if you would basically go over your power level total for your supply limit. And the Destroyer Cult character then starts with the same experience points as the character that it replaced, and it also keeps all of its battle honours. So basically a Destroyer Lord is taken over the Lord or Overlord, and it only costs you 1 RP. So I'm presuming there'll be more of these to buy, so we'll have to look out for that. They then went on to the big one. the Silent King. So they released his stats. His datasheet got released, so we will be going over his datasheet with a full-on preview and a review once the codex does come out, when we can actually see all the rules in one book. And for now, you can see he's pretty much a beast with all those stats, and they did mention that he's stacked up with abilities, and he's probably one of the best characters in 40k at the moment. He can take down Primarchs, he can take down Demon Primarchs. They pretty much said he can take down everything. Stay tuned for that. Oh, worth mentioning as well, the two little models on the side, they are actually in his datasheet as well. The Triacal Menhirs, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they've got their own stats. 5 wounds apiece by the looks of that, so that's pretty mad as well. They then went on to show a new release, the Ophelian Destroyers, so another lot of destroyers coming out here. They seem to be combat orientated, but the main thing of note here is the Tunneling Horrors special ability, which is basically deep strike, so they're coming out from underneath the ground with their sort of wraith-like looking bodies and their claws. I'd imagine this is going to be quite an important unit. We're going to go through the review and the previews at a later date. Probably next week I'll be doing a preview of this unit, so stay tuned for that. But a nice little model there. They showed some new flayed ones. So they showed the rule of the flayed, well, one of the rules that the flayed ones are going to be getting, which is Flesh Hunger. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack against an enemy non-vehicle unit, an unmodified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. So exploding 6s, quite nice, especially when you're getting quite a few attacks with these guys on a big squad as well. So as I said, guys, we're going to be previewing all the data sheets in due course, and when the actual codex itself comes out and we know all the rules, all the warlord traits and the stratagems and all the new protocol rules as well, once we know all of those, we can then do a full in-depth review of each unit, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next video.